Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Evelyn Cregan and I'm the Programme Director of the Compliance Programmes in IOB. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Michaela White, who is the Programme Manager for the Compliance Programmes. So today we've invited you along just to talk to you about the Professional Certificate and the Professional Diploma in Compliance. So this is a Level 7 programme that is delivered for those who are looking to move into work in a role in compliance, or who are already working in a role in compliance, or for those working in any other part of the business who want to understand maybe more about how the compliance function works. The programme is linked with the minimum competency code that the Central Bank of Ireland set out, and for anyone working in a role of the judging complaints, they must have this programme and be a designate member of the Compliance Institute to carry out that role. So for any of you that are doing the programme, I suppose you will realise that we deliver this to members of Compliance Institute, so you'll need to have joined with them and maintain that membership throughout. So the real purpose of today, I suppose, was to see if you had any questions and that Michaela and myself might answer those. So I'm going to open it up now to yourselves. Callum, you might let me know. I'm not sure, can people unmute themselves if we can let everybody in? Or if not, maybe put the questions in the chat or the Q&A function and we'll take them from there.
And no, they won't be able to unmute.
No problem. Okay, guys. So if you want to put the questions into the Q&A function, we'll keep an eye on them and we can answer as they come through. Okay, see one coming through here. Do we have to complete CPD whilst doing exams? So thank you very much for that. No, you don't. So the way the programme is set up, you start out by taking PDC 1 and 2, and that gives you the Professional Certificate in Compliance, the UCD accredited programme. And then if you continue with PDC 3 and PDC 4, you complete the Professional Diploma in Compliance. Once you have completed the diploma, you will be invited by Compliance Institute to take up the designation, and there's a period of time in which you can do that. And usually in the first year of taking up the designation, you don't have to do CPD, and then from there on in, you need to do 15 hours of CPD to keep your designation current. So it really happens when the year following the year you complete the diploma is when you'll take up the designation. Hopefully that answers that. Is there anything that anybody would like to hear a little bit more about in relation to the programme? Okay, so do we have to learn all of the case studies for the exams? So this is, I assume, coming from the case studies that are set out in the manuals. So no, you're not specifically, you will not specifically be examined on a case study that exists in the manual. All of the exams are written exams, so there's various questions asked. And as you progress from the certificate through to the diploma, I suppose the exams become more essay-like. What the case studies do though is they might help you, I suppose, see how the knowledge is applied, and then they can also, you could reference them if you didn't have maybe examples of your own from your own experience. You could use examples from the case studies, but they themselves aren't actually usually included in the exam. Okay, what requirements, if any, do you need to have to register for this programme? So usually to register for the programme, we're looking that you would have a minimum of your leaving certificate. In the, Michaela, you might just have a look for the exact leave. I think it's 5 passes at leaving cert,
passes, yeah,
including English. And then once you have that, you're eligible. If you don't have that for any reason and you're 23 years of age or older, you can apply just on any experience that you have, and we'll look at that on a one-by-one basis. Okay. Another question, is the minimum competency just to complete PDC 1 or 2, or is it all 4 exams? So you must have completed all 4 exams, the professional diploma in compliance, to be to meet the requirements for the minimum competency. So that's that one. Next question, if would like more guidance on PDC 3 content, it's complex and the exam webinar is not until near the exam. Okay, that's really interesting feedback and thank you for that. So we, as well as the exam webinar, Michaela, you might come in with this as well, we offer other webinars throughout the period, isn't that correct?
Yeah, Catherine, so there is a specific exam webinar, but there is 3 other webinars before that the module coordinator runs. So if you have any questions on the content or the exam, you can still bring them to those webinars. Marcus is really open to, leaving the sessions to the students as well. So anything you'd like him to cover or any questions, just bring them to the webinar or send them on to me and I can give them to Marcus to cover in advance.
And also just in relation to that question, it is good to look as well as, so that you have 2 ways of studying, I suppose. You have your e-manual that you can use. They're supported by the webinars where they can give a bit more context to that. And also, as Michaela's set out, that you can ask your questions there in advance or on the evening. But then also have a look at the previous exam paper. So the exam paper will just help you, I suppose, identify how the examiner is actually examining the content on the module. So it's a good idea from the outset as you're studying to look at the past exam. Not that you have to actually do it at the outset, but that it'll give you the framework in which it set out how the subject is examined. Just having it open here. Okay. So are the exam questions based on the handbook or do we have to read other texts? And how many times a year are the exams done? So thanks for that. So yes, the exams are based primarily on the handbook. Sometimes in the handbook, it might make reference to, to other areas that you can refer to get more information. But fundamentally, the exams are based on the content that's in the handbook. It's also, I suppose, useful to think of examples, because when you're giving the detail of the regulatory structures or the content, it can expand on your answer. You can expand on your answer sometimes by giving examples from your own workplace or other things that you've come across. So that's the bit that might be outside of the textbook. And in relation to the PDC, each of the modules is examined 3 times a year. So we're currently enrolling for the May exams. Then the next set of exams will be in September, and then the next set of exams will be the following January 2024. So we have May 2023, September 2023, and we have January 2024.
So just on the question on how to test your laptop and when you can do that. So that is available to do now. So if you log into your IOB Learn, there is an exam, it's called a mock exam. So that is the exact same structure as when you actually do your exam on the day. So you can test all of that now. And there is also an exam information section on IOB Learn with a few different FAQ documents. So have a read of those first, and then I would try the mock exam.
And to Michaela's point there, guys, it's incredibly important that you trial your technology a good bit before the exam. And what we mean by that is that you actually do that test in the location where you think you're going to sit your exam, on the hardware that you're going to use for your exam. So there's no point checking it at work and then planning to sit the exam at home, or vice versa. So think in advance of where you're going to take your exam. So it's a proctored, invigilated exam, and you have to load up other software. So, you know, just particularly, and I make the point of, if you were thinking of sitting it at work, sometimes there's firewalls or otherwise that might get in your way. So you do need to give yourself, the last thing you want is hassle, or that type of hassle close to the exam. So give yourself plenty of opportunity. Are there any other questions? Okay, so throughout the next number of weeks, Michaela will keep in touch with you in relation to, you know, just where you should be at in your studies and what you might be doing. You also have your webinars coming up. And as we said, you also have all of the resources that are there in IOB Learn. There's no such thing as a silly question. So if you do have any questions or concerns as you're continuing through your studies, please get in touch with Michaela or myself, and we'll do our best to help you. So is there anything else anybody'd like to ask? Just remember, if you're thinking it, it's reasonable that plenty of other people are too. So is registration closed by the 20th of March? Michaela, do you want to take that? I think that is our...
Yeah, so that's the closing date for the May exam. Yeah, so you'd need to register and make sure you have your Compliance Institute membership as well before then.
Just checking that. So am I able to apply for the September exam so I can get the book?
Yeah, so registrations are open for the September exams, but you won't get access to the module content until the trimester start date for that period, which is June.
Anybody else? Okay, well, look, I'm not seeing anything else coming through. So hopefully we've addressed any concerns you have today. As I said, we're both here all the time if you've any other questions at any point. So look, the best of luck with your studies. Little and often is a good approach. If you're not registered yet, please follow that through and get yourselves, you know, on the pathway as soon as possible. And I'm not sure if that's another question. So just joined now, is only one trimester required for the cert? Yes, we recommend that. Like it depends on yourself and your own time frame and ability, but certainly it's possible to do PDC1 and PDC2 together in one trimester. If you were going to do that, I would suggest you get signed up as soon as possible. We're looking at May exams. So we're looking at sort of, you know, study time for March, April. It's 2 months. It's very doable, but you would need to just, you know, make sure that you leave yourself enough time for study. We've already said just earlier that you look at the past exam papers, and particularly around PDC1 and PDC2, there's been a change. So they are written papers now. And also that you would test your equipment in advance of the exams so that you're comfortable that your technology works where you're going to do the exam. Okay, can you advise on what job roles are available after the diploma is completed and career choices? So there's a huge demand in compliance roles at the moment. Compliance is a very broad topic. I suppose it goes from AML across to data protection, across to, you know, the whole ambit of consumer protection within the organization and how the organization works. So there can be roles both within the compliance department, but also roles in the first line of the defense of the business, you know, on the sales line, because I suppose it's very important that anybody who's, you know, developing products, making products, selling products, understands the central bank and regulatory requirements in how those products operate. We have a couple of interviews and recordings up on IOB Learn, and written interviews with some of the recruiters who set out in detail the different types of roles and career paths that are available. And Compliance Institute, where you'd be a member, also are really supportive in that. But I suppose if you want to work in financial services and you're not 100% clear of the area you want to work in, one of the huge benefits of starting out working in compliance is that you get to see how all different areas of the business works. And, you know, a lot of time people work in compliance for a couple of years and then they move out into the business, or vice versa. So from that perspective, it gives you a lot of roles. Also, if I don't have the link up, I'll get it up soon. Lincoln Recruitment did a really interesting salary survey, and they have a lot of detail about the sort of the permanent salary roles and the part-time salary roles in relation to compliance professionals. So we'll get that up on IOB Learn as well in the next day or so. Michaela, I'll send you that link if I haven't done it already. And anything else? No. Michaela, have I missed anything?
No, I don't see anything else there.
Okay, guys, you're obviously all interested because you've taken the time to come on the call. So really our role now is to support and help you successfully get your exams. And that starts with study. So get out the books, do a little bit and often. It can be daunting sometimes for people maybe that haven't studied for a while, but just set yourself realistic. Just read the chapters, look at how the exams are formatted, go back and read the chapters. And we wish you the best of luck. Attend the webinars because they give you context. And as we said, look at the exam papers to understand how and what you might be asked. And then make sure you test your technology to make sure that you're okay on the day doing the exam. Okay, I think on that basis, we'll sign off, and best of luck to everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.